Hello there. My name is Gabriel Kitterman, and I am an elementary teacher out here in Silverton, Oregon. I've written a fantasy adventure book that has a very unique mechanism, a real hook that'll pull kids in, and I can guarantee you've never seen anything quite like this. I've thrown together this proof of concept book here so I can kind of explain to you how it would work, but this is not my cover art or anything, it's just here to set the mood. Now, as the reader goes through the adventure, eventually he's going to start confronting some bosses, and he has to defeat these big enemies. When this happens, the text is going to instruct him to flip the book over and to confront one of these big boss enemies. And the way he does this is by using a system I call the animated combat system. And that's where he actually flips through the book, and that reveals a flipbook animation of the combat in the corner here. And he has to pick at what point in the battle he wants to stop and what action he wants to take at that moment. Now, I've created an example animation, but keep in mind that I am not an animator and it's not the best artwork, but it might help you understand how it works. So the reader's going to flip through this and watch the skeleton and see if he can figure out maybe a vulnerable moment to make an attack. So as one example of how this might work is that the story has revealed that the skeleton has a magical amulet around its neck which gives it some of its powers. So perhaps the reader will notice that the amulet becomes vulnerable during one part of the animation. Right about there, you can see the amulet. So at this moment, the reader would open the book. Then over to the side, there's a series of choices he can make about what he wants to do during that moment. And so the layout might look something like this. He just kind of folds it over, and then it spells out all of his options. And one of those options will be to attack the amulet. And then it'll tell him what page to turn to, and it'll tell him how much damage is done to the skeleton, and sometimes damage will also be done to the hero. And that is one round of combat. Then the reader starts over again, and he flips through the animation, and he finds another moment to make an attack. Perhaps this time, he'll stop maybe here, and he'll think, well, while the skeleton's swinging his sword high, maybe I'll roll in and attack its legs. I'll attack low. So he makes his choice, and he turns to that paragraph, and he gets the results of that attack. And these rounds of combat, you do over and over again until either the skeleton is destroyed or the hero is destroyed. Now, if the reader is victorious, it'll instruct him to go back to the main story, and it'll tell him where to start the story again, and he'll continue on his quest. And eventually, he'll have to confront the second boss, and if he beats that one, he'll do some more of the story, and then he'll confront the final boss. So that is how the animated combat system works. Now, I wrote the entire story for it. It's a fantasy adventure story. But you could just as easily use this novelty in like a Star Wars book where you're fighting evil Sith Lords or you're fighting Kylo Ren. Or perhaps you could use it in a Harry Potter book where you're battling against wizards or something. The animated combat system could be used with all kinds of IP. And it just seems to me that it could be really engaging and really hook kids' attention. So if you'd like to learn more about the animated combat system, because basically I just gave you the real simple version. There's more to it than that. Or if you'd like to hear about the story that I wrote, definitely let me know. And thank you so much for your time.